Microsoft is the biggest technology company on the face of the earth. Okay, Apple is a close second, and depending on the day, they jockey for said top spot. But while Apple has very few chinks in its armor, you can take a look at maybe Apple TV is being seen as a bit of a vanity project. It does not nearly have the siphon of profitability that Microsoft has in the form of the Xbox brand. It's kind of analogous to how Disney has a problem with Lucasfilm. Actually, it's about a direct comparison there, because Xbox president Sarah Bond, she is the perfect example, the textbook example, in fact, of failing upwards, because here's her resume, right? Okay, Xbox president doesn't know anything about video games, forced developers to stop making curvy female characters, shut down Tango Gameworks, hijack Xbox Pass prices, that's Game Pass prices, all their empowered diversity, equity, and inclusion games flop. Truly a woman moment. Yeah, exactly. So we might have actually found the president or a CEO of a company or a brand that is worse than Kathleen Kennedy. She just doesn't nearly, at least in certain spaces, get as much criticism as KK does, mostly because, well, you have a couple of other go-betweens between her decisions and ruining franchises under the Xbox banner. You know, all of those franchises that made the 7th generation definitively that of the Xbox 360. She's presided over the failures and the falterings of Halo, Gears of War, Forza, years and years of Rare doing absolutely nothing except for Sea of Thieves. Like, it's crazy how incompetent she is, but she's still there. And then, yes, earlier this year when Xbox was closing down every studio that they could think of, Arcane, Lion, or I'm sorry, Austin, because Lion's the one that's going to be staying open, restructuring 343 Studios. And then, of course, yes, the closing of Tango Gameworks. You would think that eventually some corporate heads were going to roll, but no, it's fine, because we have stagnant growth on Game Pass, and that's great. It's the future. Xbox president, our commitment is to make sure that the business is healthy for the long term. Well, you keep on throwing around money. Acquiring different studios, bigger and better studios, Bethesda, ZeniMax, Activision, Blizzard, and how are you going to recoup all of those costs if you're just putting all of those games on your subscription service and then reneging on the promise that this is going to be an a la carte option at the worst possible time when it comes to PR perception? You're just a big smart lady. Xbox president Sarah Bond says that Microsoft's shuttering of 4 Bethesda studios is to ensure the firm's business is healthy for the long term. It's crazy, right? Because you could understand, you know, closing down Arcane Austin. They put out Redfall and they've been lackadaisical on a lot of their projects. Makes sense. People might respect some of their work, but in reality, if it doesn't sell, you don't stay employed. Unless, of course, you're an executive and you can just shirk your responsibilities to other people. But Tango Gameworks, yeah, that one doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. The comment came in a recent interview with the Bloomberg's Dina Bass, as the executive noted that while 2023 saw big game releases, and nobody was talking about them in the aftermath, big game releases like Starfield, where was all the positive buzz around that? Oh, right. You know why nobody was talking about it? Because they're boring! You're boring! Anyways, growth in the games industry was still flat, very much so, and the cost of AAA titles continues to rise, yes, with their very pervasive monetization strategies. Bond was asked how consumers should understand the shuttering decisions in terms of the firm's commitment to developing exclusive games. When we looked at those fundamental industry trends, we feel a deep responsibility. You're CEO, you should know, you shouldn't have to feel responsibility to ensure that the games we make, the devices we build, the services that we offer are there through moments, even when the industry isn't growing. Speak for yourself. The industry, in general, is doing fine. It's just the AAA space you guys have firmly entrenched yourself in. Yeah, that's not growing. And when you're through a time of transition, like what are you talking about here? The news we announced earlier this week is the outcome of that and our commitment to make sure that the business is healthy for the long term. So yeah, you shut down a little indie studio that cranked out one of your best hits, or one of your biggest hits of 2023, one of your best received games, both critically and commercially. You shut them down. Because why? The executive also said that Microsoft still has commitment to having its own studios and working with partners to deliver games large and small. Sure. Bass's next topic was the closure of Tango Gameworks. As she said, if a studio releases a title such as Hi-Fi Rush, which won awards and was well received and sold relatively well, shouldn't that ensure the game maker's future? In response, Bond said, one of the things I really love about the games industry is it's a creative art form. Okay, what does this have to do with with closure. It means that if a situation for a success for a game and the studio is also really unique, there's no one-size-fits-all for all of us. Yeah, can we talk about you making the stupid decision to close down a studio that was actually turning out a hit, actually was a win for your company in an otherwise maligned 2023? Can you make that one work out? No, it's just, I feel like things will eventually work out, right? Ungoddamn believable. And it's even more unbelievable that out of all of those studio closures, what's the first one to get picked up? Oh, Tango Gameworks. After Microsoft shuts it down, Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks revived by South Korean publisher Krafton. Oh, okay, that's very interesting. 3 months after Microsoft shut down, Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks, South Korean publisher Krafton has acquired the Japanese studio and announced plans to continue the Hi-Fi Rush IP. There you go, because they had plans for a sequel, from what I could recall, but this is fantastic news. On May 7th, the official Tango Gameworks account announced that the studio would be shutting down. It wrote on X, today it was announced that Tango Gameworks will close. Thank you to everyone that explored the worlds we created in Hi-Fi Rush, along with Tango's previous titles, will remain available and playable everywhere they are today. The announcement was made alongside Microsoft shutting down Arcane Austin, the studio behind Redfall, justifiably so, mobile game developer Alpha Dog Games, and merged Roundhouse Studios into the Elder Scrolls Online development ZeniMax Online Studios. In an email obtained by IGN's Wesley Yin Poole, Xbox Game Studio Matt Booty explained the closures and layoffs. Yeah, this guy's an ass. Pun not intended. These changes are grounded in prioritizing high-impact titles and further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games and beloved worlds which have nurtured over many decades. Double down on these franchises and invest in to build new ones requires us to look across the business to identify the opportunities that are best positioned for success. Hi-Fi Rush and Picture not relevant. This reprioritization of titles and resources means a few teams will be realigned to others and that some of our colleagues will be leaving us. Yeah, and best of luck in your future endeavors. After going over the closures, Bodhi stated that this consolidation of our Bethesda studio teams so that we can invest more deeply in our portfolio of games and new IPs. A small number of roles across the Bethesda publishing and corporate teams will be eliminated. These changes are not a reflection of the creativity and skill of the talented individuals at these teams or the risks that they took to try new things. I acknowledge that these changes are also disruptive to various support teams across ZeniMax and Bethesda that bring our games to market. We are making those tough decisions to create capacity to increase investments as part of our portfolio and focus on our priority games, not the ones that, like sell or get awards or anything like that, but whatever. At the time, the closure of Tango Gameworks was surprising, given Xbox Games marketing vice president at Microsoft, Aaron Greenberg, had asserted in April that the game was a breakout hit for us and the players in all key measurements and expectations. We couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango Gameworks delivered with this surprise release. Yeah, exactly. And also, when the studios were getting closed, stupid-ass Matt Booty said that, yeah, because when it comes to developing games, we're really looking for those smaller studios to crank out little indie hits at an affordable price, and you just closed. Anyways, now according to the press release from South Korean publisher, it purchased Tango Gameworks and welcomed the talented people of Tango Gameworks to their team, marking an exciting moment in the company's global expansion and the first significant investment in the Japanese video game market. And oh yeah, by the way, Tango Gameworks was the only studio that Xbox or Microsoft had in Japan. Why would you close that studio? The company added the strategic move will include the rights to Tango Gameworks' acclaimed IP Hi-Fi Rush. Well, that's fantastic news right there. Furthermore, the press release added, as part of this strategic agreement, Krafton intends to collaborate with Xbox and ZeniMax to ensure a smooth transition and maintain continuity at Tango Gameworks, allowing the talented team to continuing develop the Hi-Fi Rush IP and explore future projects. This announcement right here, I'm telling you, really entices me to pick up a copy of Hi-Fi Rush because I hear nothing but great things about it. Okay, this isn't one of those critical darlings that you need to enjoy over a snifter of brandy. No, this just has, universal acclaim. Krafton intends to support Tango Gameworks team to continue its commitment to innovation and developing fresh and exciting experiences for fans. There will be no impact on the existing game catalog of Evil Within 1 and 2, Ghostwire Tokyo, and the original Hi-Fi Rush game. For those unfamiliar with Krafton, they published Terra, PUBG Battlegrounds, yeah, that's a big thing, New State Mobile, Callisto Protocol, well, we won't hold that against you, and Moonbreaker. The company also owns Bluehole Studios, really PUBG Studios, Striking Distance, Unknown Worlds, Neo Giant, and more. And now you can add Tango Gameworks to them because apparently they're not stupid, and being able to keep this team together and to have them continue to develop the games that they make, because honestly, I don't hear anything bad, or at least uniformly bad, about the Evil Within franchise. Okay, Ghostwire Tokyo, I hear generally positive things about that, and then Hi-Fi Rush, yeah, universal acclaim, so this is a hell of a good pickup for Krafton, and it's yet another L that Xbox can keep on their ledger. In a post-Xbox 360 ecosystem, it's just amazing how tremendously they fumbled the bag with that Xbox One release. They have yet to recover, and I don't think they ever will. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.